episode of Mr. Badger Talks to Utter Scum. I'm here with a new guest, the lovely young lady that is Quinton Righteousness. What?
No, Mr. Badger, no, it's Quinton Righteousness is my name, Quinton Righteousness. I don't actually identify as female yet, haven't, maybe someday, who knows, but no, for the time being, I am a male, I am a man, male.
A male man?
No, see, that's not actually my job, that's just that's my gender identity, is male, so, like, no.
You're a piece of post?
No, not a piece of post, Mr. Badger, no, like in the old days, we'd have like male and female, like man or woman,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, you see your index finger there?
Yeah.
Finger there, yeah. Like that's me right now, yeah. That's how I identify. Well, it depends who you ask, Some of the gents at the rowing club might say so, but maybe
yeah. So you're a dick, but you're quickly becoming a fanny.
Well, it's a rather droll way of putting it, Mr. Badger. Yeah, I suppose if it makes sense to you, if that's your way of, your truth, if that's your way of seeing the world, then yeah, let's go with that. Yeah.
I can't see much. I've got cataracts.
Well, I don't mean to offend. I don't, and I'm sorry for laughing. I am actually deeply sorry for laughing. I apologize to your listeners for laughing there. I didn't mean to laugh at the affliction of a woodland animal with a degenerative eye disorder. So if I caused offence, I am deeply, deeply sorry. I am.
I never think you should apologise for anything. And talking of which, it's time to bring up the subject of the show, because you come on here to talk to me about how to be woke, which is something that I have been in trouble for not being.
Oh yeah, no, we've all been there, so like the woke movement is, it's really quite important. It's quite like, it's a cultural paradigm shift, there's a lot of talk about it, a lot of movement in that space,
I've had bad movements.
What bad movements?
Yeah.
What bad move? Let's talk it out. In fact, let's not talk it out straight away. Mr. Badger, I want to start, right? Because, like, I've been woke for some years now, I know my way around the wokosphere, some of us absolutely indoctrinated people know it. I want to know, like, what does woke mean to you? What do you understand by the meaning of the word woke?
So from what I understand, woke is what you get when you take the white bit off the egg and there's a runny bit in the middle.
And again, like, I really appreciate you sharing that, like, it could be quite problematic for some of your vegan listeners, you mentioning, savaging an egg like that.
It's not, I don't have any listeners, it's fine.
Okay, but like those who identify as your listeners, no, so that you're talking there about an egg, like cooking an egg. I'm talking about the word woke, like, because we've got some people, it refers to like being awakened to the idea that nothing's really real, and it's all about how you... Pardon?
Tron. Where they get sucked into the computer and they're riding motorbikes.
Well, we do spend a lot of our time on the computer, Mr. Badger. That's where most of it's done. We don't really like arguing in person because we run the risk of somebody actually generating a counter argument without giving us the time to draft up our retweet.
Or punching you.
Or punching, yeah. We don't like, although let's not forget the fact here, well, it's my fact, it's my truth that words are violence. And we know this, like, I'm sure you felt that. I'm sure you felt that in your career, that as a comedian, as a children's entertainer, that words can be violence. I'm sure you've been afflicted by words.
I'd say words have led to violence.
Words have led to violence. Okay, so maybe. However, it's really the modern realization now that it's words that are in themselves violence. So you being punched. I missed that. Sorry, Mr. Badger.
Like
Okay, right. This is. Are we gonna have to implement some kind of strike system? Because I think that might qualify for strike one. Like
Strike.
that really is. The S word really has no place on this podcast. I think.
What?
There we go again, Mr. Badger. That word really runs us the risk of being deplatformed. You know.
I'm not a fucking train.
No, and I don't mean to misidentify you. I don't know your vehicular identity. Like mine is as a bipedal mammal, a human, if you will. I don't know how you are.
I'm a pedal.
You're a pedal, Mr. Badger.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Loads of people shouted at me. They go, "Mr. Badger's a pedal."
Okay. They might be. Is there any allegations outstanding against you? Is this podcast going to reflect badly on me for, like, you know, my career?
Let's move on. So you're here today to teach me about how to be woke. So where would you start cranking?
Say that last word one more time, Mr. Badger.
Cranking.
Sorry, one more time.
Quinton.
Oh, my name. Oh, you're asking my name. No, it's Quinton. Quinton Righteousness is the name. You know, righteousness, my name, righteousness by nature. So where would I start with talking about being woke? Well, you know, you dabble in comedy, is it, Mr. Badger?
Well, many would disagree.
Okay, well, we're not talking about them. We're talking about you. We want to find out about how you identify. You know, so how would you describe your comedy? Is it progressive? Is it out there? Is it edgy? Is it progressive? Quite important. It's progressive.
I would describe it as funny.
Oh, you describe it as funny. That's good. But is it funny in a progressive way?
Explain to me. This is all new.
Okay, so progressive is a word that we like to use in the woke community to describe just about everything we do, regardless how much progress it actually leads to. It's very important it's recognized as progressive. So I thought we could start with looking at a couple of examples here of some well-loved comedy routines from some very famous comedians from around about 10 or 15 years ago, the dark years, as we call them.
You can't call them darks anymore. That's illegal.
No, you're right. No, you're absolutely right. We can't call certain groups of people dark, but I'm not referring to people here.
They are people.
You're
That's
right.
Disgusting.
No, you're right. Absolutely. No, Mr. Badger, in hindsight, I'd like to issue an apology and say that I sincerely apologize for any offense caused by my use of the word dark, regardless of context. Let's call it the times of color. The times of color. So looking back at the times of color around 10, 15 years ago, the first one I want to put to you some quotes, and I want you to understand, and I want to enable you, I want to help you, I want to enable you to understand why these quotes from these well-loved comedians and these well-loved routines are in fact problematic. Okay, are you ready for this? Should we try one?
We can have a go.
Let's try one. So Alan Carr, the famous homosexual warrior. He is indeed, yes, he is a homosexual. He is part of the LGBTQIAAP plus community, and he was participating with a member of the audience, and he said that he could no longer take questions from the audience because someone once asked him, "Are you a train or a tunnel?" Now, Mr. Badger, why would that joke be problematic? Because
Princess Diana was executed in a tunnel.
Yes, she was, but it was she was executed. I believe she was executed, yes, because
she was sucking up.
Well, that's speculative, you know. But she was doing important work trying to overthrow the monarchy from within.
He was within her, I tell you. Dodie out fired.
If that's your interpretation of events, Mr. Badger, then I fully support you.
Dodie died. Diana died. Ken Dodd died. Dido shitting herself.
Well, you know, like, if I'm sure Dido's going to be absolutely fine, Mr. Badger. Don't you worry about her, you know. But are you a train or a tunnel? Why would that be problematic? You're not a million miles away, but why would that be problematic?
Because all trains are lesbians.
Okay, that really might be struck too, Mr. Badger.
I don't know. I don't know.
What
Are
else?
you a lesbian?
No, I know with what's going on here, it could mislead a few people, but no, I'm not a lesbian. I am, in fact, begrudgingly a heterosexual. I'm doing everything in my power to change that, but sadly, my sexuality just won't budge.
What does cis male mean? Because I've heard that before.
Oh, cisgender. Oh, right, cisgender. Yeah. It's not cis male. I am a cis male because I was, we used to call it being born. You were born and then that was your gender. We used to call it being born. Now we call it patriarchally assigning you a gender stereotype at birth. It is something that we in the woke community really are trying to put a stop to.
That's catchy.
Well, thank you very much. I think it does have a real rhythm to it. It rolls off the tongue. But okay, Miss Badger, if we're gonna work on cleaning up our language, can we work on cleaning up our manners as well, please?
What?
I don't.
What's wrong with me manners?
That was quite a loud belch I just heard from you there, Mr. Badger. That's actually.
It wasn't a belch.
What was it?
One of me cysts popped.
Badger? No, I'm really starting to find this quite difficult.
So you're offended at the fact that I've got cysts?
I'm offended by the fact that you keep reiterating to me unnecessarily that you are a cis male. I know you are. We are. This isn't a very diverse episode of your podcast, but
cysts like boils in me gut.
Okay. Cyst. You can see where the confusion came from there, Mr. Badger. I apologize. Okay, I apologize for causing you stress by accidentally bringing up your digestive issue there. But manners cost nothing. Never mind what affliction you have in your esophagus. It's not really. It's just have a bit of respect for your listeners. They don't want to hear that kind of gas expulsion from your mouth like that.
I don't think it's my fault that Dale Winton's cum was so corrosive.
Okay, Mr. Badger, we're really entering into these problematic areas again. We haven't even got to. I want to know why you think that would be problematic. Are you a train or a tunnel? You're not a million miles away with your comments about Princess Diana, although that could invite some backlash from the listeners.
Something to do with royalty. Prince Andrew?
No, now he is a very, very problematic figure indeed, Mr. Badger. But no, it's not actually that. What it is are you a train or a tunnel? That, it seems quite friendly. To the untrained ear, it seems like it might be quite friendly as a way of jovially making fun of homosexual relations, when actually the problem lies in, doesn't acknowledge those in the gay community that are agoraphobic, that actually have a fear of getting on trains. They see trains as quite problematic.
The Agrastanis, they're the ones that blow things up, aren't they?
No, I really don't feel comfortable talking about this. Agrestan isn't a real place, and I don't feel like I can say much more on the matter. Agoraphobic, those who have fear of going outdoors because they only identify their home as a safe space. So they don't want to get on trains, and this joke from Alan Carr there really isn't paying those people the respect that they deserve as a marginalised group in our society.
Well, that's bullshit, because you said that their safe space is their home, and I've broken into loads of people's houses.
And this is one of the problems that we're trying to address here, Mr. Badger. Like, breaking into people's homes, that's a breach of their privacy. The only grounds upon which one can enter the home of another is if they've had a tweet reported for being offensive, or if they've upset a member of the trans community. If they're accused of transphobia, then by all means knock the door fucking hinges. But till such an extreme has been reached, that is a breach of one's privacy.
I've learned something new, and that brings me on to the middle section of our show, which what happens is I get the guest on, which would be yourself, and we talk through a listener's sexual problems. The title is called Mr. Badger's Corner of Love. I take it you like love, do you?
Oh, all love, yeah. Love is love, you know. Hashtag love is love. Regardless what form or gender identity or flag they wave, you know, love is love.
Talking of smashing somebody's back door off, then, we've got a letter from a Mr. Ben Atkinson, and he said.
Okay, yeah.
He said.
I've had problems with him in the past, actually. I've had problems with this. He's a rather problematic figure. Is this going to be clean, Mr. Badger?
Oh, it's very clean. There's no swearing at all.
Okay, you go ahead. Let's see what he has to say.
Well, he said that basically he's got a thing for smashing people's back doors in, and he doesn't care what sex they are. And I want to know, is that healthy? Is it okay to continually go for the anus, or should he occasionally go for the...
Okay, Mr. Badger, let's break that down. Let's look at the positives here, which is Ben Atkinson is obviously saying, you know, hi to you, Ben. Hi, hope you're listening. Hope you're loving it.
He won't be listening.
So you're saying that he, you know, he doesn't care about the sex, like what sex of the sex of the person he's engaging in sex with. Now that's good.
I don't think he cares if it's human, to be honest.
If we, well, okay, fine. Like, I'm sure we can make space for him under the LGBTQIAP plus rainbow. But we want to know, like, if there's still a problem there because he's limiting it to their sex. If we could expand that to include their gender, then we might be getting somewhere. So now, the other problem is you expressly referenced the labia and other components therein. Now, that only exists for a percentage of females. There are actually a lot of females out there and males who don't have, and our non-binary friends as well, who don't have what you said. So that's another problem. Is if he's limiting his sexual escapades to those who have that biological. Ninja. Then, you know, that's problematic as well, because by doing that he's actually discriminating against all penis owners, which is something that I would really take issue with him on.
So if you've got a penis, you can't be a woman. That's what we've learned from the middle section. So
no, absolutely not, Mr. Badger. No, I will not let us continue from this section on that note. No, absolutely not. No.
You've just said.
No, absolutely no. I would never make such an accusation. No.
Sorry.
Absolutely, women can have penises. Absolutely, women can have penises, Mr. Badger.
Women have penises. That's what we've learned.
Not all of them. No, I would not do that. I would not limit. I would not corral anyone by you know, the genitalia that they're afflicted with at birth. No. Some women do, yeah, but not all. It's very important to remember.
I'm basically, can he just do them up the shitter, or does he have to flop about onto the other side?
Onto the other side, yeah, absolutely. No, I think you're right. Onto the other side of the rainbow, of the LGBTQIAP plus community, that'd be really good if he could also engage in some relationships there. You know, never mind the long-term effects. We don't really focus on that much in the woke community. It tends to result in quite simple deconstruction of our arguments. No, he should really, yeah. If he could expand his horizons, that'd be great. You know, love is love.
Yeah, love is love, no matter how old they are. So let's move on to the next point you were going to bring up. You giving me some examples of old comedy and why it's wrong.
That's right. Yeah. So let's talk about. We tried with Alan Carr. Maybe let's try a different example here. So we've actually got one here from Lenny Henry. You know,
he's one of them, isn't he?
One of them, Mr. Badger.
He does comic relief presenter.
He is indeed a comic relief presenter. Yes, very, very good, Mr. Badger. Yes, he is. He was talking about, he was allegedly satirizing talent show contestants on shows like The X Factor and how they say things. They've always got to have an agenda. And so he was saying, he quoted a fictional participant. He said, "I want to win this right for me gran because she's got leukemia." And he was saying this in a distinct Liverpool accent. Why would that be a problem, Mr. Badger?
Because Scousers are thieves. It might upset old people.
Now, I really like your way of thinking here. You're thinking about which group is in fact marginalized. That's really good progress. You've identified old people. That really is good. Now, we are on the right lines here. With this one, it's actually because people in Liverpool have a lot more to worry about than grandparents with leukemia. You know, they've got the postcode to contend with. They've got the transport links in Liverpool are dire. It takes me untold amount of time to get from Liverpool back down to Surrey. So, you know, it really, they've got a lot more to contend with there. And this joke doesn't really take into account all the struggles of marginalized groups in Liverpool. It really only focuses on one, which is those afflicted by leukemia, which, though important, of course, this is important, it overlooks, well, just about everything else except those who are afflicted by leukemia, and that really is a problem. It's not very inclusive as a joke.
So the problem is that Liverpudlians have got lots and lots of issues, and they're not raised in this.
Absolutely, Mr. Badger. You know, like, we want comedy. Comedy's about targeting the big issues, you know, and it's like you know, leukemia.
But them tramps that sell papers.
What? One more time, please, Mr. Badger.
The tramps that sell papers. Well, they're like big issues.
Right, there we go. So we've had the S word, now I've had the T word. That really is strike two,
what,
Mr.
twat?
Badger. No, Mr. Badger, would you mind awfully? No, tramp, Mr. Badger. We don't use that word. We actually we prefer in the woke community to use the French word, because it takes the sting out of it, softens it down a little bit.
Le tramp.
Son domicile. No, not le tramp. Son domicile. They're without a domicile, Mr. Badger.
I son domicilized somebody once, and they weren't very happy.
You did what to somebody, Mr. Badger?
I son domicilized them.
No, son domicile is French for without a domicile, without a home. Yeah?
I don't care if they've got a home or not. As long as they're asleep, I'll have a go.
So, I'm going to take it that you mean having a go at helping them overcome their marginalisation and making our society fairer and more inclusive.
Yeah, that's what you just said.
And in that case, Mr. Badger, I welcome that openly. Like, absolutely, yeah.
You remind me of a child, with your brain and how much it can take in. So I tend to have a lot more fun with children if I introduce them to my purple-headed monster. Would that be okay?
Yes, Mr. Badger, absolutely. So is this something that you do when you're entertaining?
Yeah, only if there's kids about, no adults. I'll get it out for them.
Well, you told me before the podcast that you are in fact a children's entertainer, so this seems fine. I don't see any issues here so far.
Okay, so this is my purple-headed monster.
Hello there. May I ask for your name and your pronouns before we go any further?
My name is Terence, and I am a...
Okay, Terence. So you're a member of the LGBTQIAP+ community, is that right?
Yeah.
And before we go any further, what are your pronouns, Terence, so I know how to refer to you?
Gay.
Okay, well, I've not heard that one before. So Mr. Badger, how does gay spend their time?
Gay spends a lot of time making friends with children.
I see no problem with that. Breaking down age barriers is one of the steps to a more inclusive and widely accepted society.
I'll definitely break their barriers, I tell you.
Mr. Badger, I can't help but feel you're being slightly inappropriate there and using the vessel of Gay's voice, Terence Gay's voice, in order to be really quite inappropriate. This doesn't really suit your audience, does it, Mr. Badger?
You don't want a purple-headed monster here?
No, I'm more than happy for Terence to stick around, so long as Gay keeps it acceptable for your listeners.
What if Gay doesn't talk and I just talk and Gay just looks at you?
I don't see a problem with that. Yeah.
Okay. So basically, you were talking about things that perhaps shouldn't be said. That you were talking about.
That's really quite a big part of the woke movement. The woke community. We really care about restricting what people can say as much as possible, because the less that's said,
as much as possible. Now stop it! That's naughty.
No, and Mr. Badger, you really are showing progress here, because I can see what you're doing here. You're using Terence here as a vessel for self-discovery and to exercise self-restraint, which is really positive. Like, I really, really welcome that. That's really positive.
So what's this? The third line you want me and Gay here to have a look at?
Oh no! I just had the two, to be honest, Mr. Badger. But I'm sure, think of one of your popular lines, or maybe one that you know from a beloved comedian, and we can talk about that. What's a quote that you know and love from the world of comedy? A really good punchline that really speaks to you.
I'm a big fan of Hannah Gadsby.
Okay, yeah. Hannah Gadsby, yeah.
I like the joke that she did, where she said that she was quitting comedy for good, and then did a second special afterwards to prove that she had in fact quit comedy.
Okay, so let's break that down a little bit, Mr. Badger. So the joke. So I'm unfamiliar with all of Hannah's work. I do apologise to my comedy sisters out there. But Hannah Gadsby, she said that she was quitting comedy for good. Is that right? Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Now, Mr. Badger, the reason this is problematic is actually because you find this funny. This joke is actually, this line is actually really, really deep. It's really quite. Mr. Badger, what is Terence doing? I'm slightly concerned for any viewers you garner after this is broadcast.
Terence is enjoying himself. Carry on. Stop trying to change the subject. Go on, Terence.
Okay, Miss Badger. Now I'm really feeling. Look, I feel like we've really pushed the envelope here, but I really am beginning to struggle with your conduct in the presence of another. This reeks of the Louis C.K. controversy.
Louis C.K. is funny, isn't he?
Well, he was, Mr. Badger. He was.
Why did he stop being funny?
Well, when it came to light that he had abused his power as a cis white male to oppress our sisters in the world of comedy, like Hannah Gadsby, for example. So you laughing at that joke about
you wouldn't
her
oppress
saying,
Hannah Gadsby, trust me.
That's exactly, that what she didn't want from that joke was laughter. She wanted acknowledgement of the plight that women face in the world of comedy. By you laughing at that, you're actually perpetuating this exclusive environment that women are subject to, how they're excluded from the world of comedy,
So women are excluded from comedy?
No, that's exactly what I was trying to get away from, Mr. Badger. By you laughing at that joke, she didn't want you to laugh. She wanted you to acknowledge her struggle. She wasn't. Look, comedy isn't always about looking for the laugh. It's always about humor. Sometimes it's about something that goes an extra layer in.
Oh yeah.
Do you understand me, Mr. Badger? Do you see where I'm coming from here? Hannah Gadsby wasn't looking to elicit laughter. She was looking for you to share in her struggle momentarily through her art.
Up a what?
Through her art, Mr. Badger, the art of her stage craft.
You're obsessed with art, you are. I'm surprised you're not that Ben Atkinson.
No, I do. No, you're right. I do love art. I love art a great deal.
We all do.
We all do indeed, Mr. Badger, because art is something that is forever changing. It's forever evolving. It's what shapes out. Pardon, Mr. Badger? Sticky. What art pieces have you seen that you describe as sticky? Would you say?
Ring pieces is sticky.
So you like jewellery, Mr. Badger?
Yes.
Is that something you like jewellery? Okay, yeah. Like, and what is it? What is it
Although,
about the jewelry
You,
as
you
an art
can't
form
call
really
them that. You get in trouble.
Pardon, Badger, Mr. Badger, I'm going to have to ask you to elaborate, please. I don't know what it is you're...
The J
you're
word,
referring
it's naughty. You'll get in trouble.
Jewellery, Mr. Badger.
Stop saying it! It's offensive!
I don't understand. What I'm struggling to understand what you mean, you know?
They
Like,
died in and you are making fun of him.
oh, I see where the confusion's come from, Mr. Badger. Okay, no. What I was talking about was jewellery, you know, like rings and necklaces and bracelets and what have you. Like, no, the plight of our Jewish brothers and sisters and non-binary types there. Obviously, that is not something that I would ever joke about or try to make light of. But you know, that I should stress to your listeners that's not what I was referring to. No.
Okay, right. So, anyway, so you're trying to teach me how to be woke, and from what it seems, from what you've just described to me, that being woke as a comedian is to not be funny anymore, but to be correct in correct in your world.
Oh, Mr. Badger, that is absolutely right. Do you know what? I'm really proud of you. I like the way to really succeed in being woke is just to emulate sort of everything I do, you know, because that's sort of how woke work. It passes on through action. Actions speak louder than words, as we know. But I'm really proud to hear you say that. You know, absolutely right. It is not about wokeness in comedy. Is absolutely about being correct over being funny. Being funny it's such an archaic expectation of what comedy has to be, you know. It's way more about correcting other people when they step their feet, when they put a foot wrong, you know. We really, it's very important that we use comedy as a vessel to exercise our other agenda, which is to enforce those that aren't in our group to abide by the rules set by our group, regardless of their thoughts and individual experiences or feelings of our group.
Like Nazis.
No, we're actually...
No, but
Mr.
it
Badger,
is, isn't it?
No, I'm actually quite offended that you would say that you would compare us to that, because that is exactly who this fight is against. This fight is against...
It's
those,
telling people what they have to do, even if it's what they don't want to do. Is that not fascism?
Mr. Badger, no, look, you're misunderstanding. It's not that these people don't want to do it. They don't know what they want. So we're explaining to them through the vessel of stand-up comedy what they want.
Like
and if they don't
Stockholm
understand...
syndrome, where you trap them and beat them into doing things they don't want to do until
Mr.
they think
Badger,
it's the
again,
correct thing to
throwing
do.
out these problematic, triggering ideas, and I'm really beginning to struggle with it. I'm starting to reach the end of my tether with you a little bit, Mr. Badger, and those are not words I use lightly.
Well, what happens when you reach the end of your tether? What do? Pop another Alice band in?
So now we're taking digs at my hair. Is that right, Mr. Badger? We're taking digs at my appearance now. We're actually, you know, if you want to mock my skin, if you want to mock the fact I'm cis, if you want to mock the fact I'm straight, then you know, you go ahead. But mocking my hair, which is, you know, something beyond my control, is.
But you can control your own
good
hair.
Work that we've done here. What did you say?
You can control your own hair.
No, not. I don't identify as one able to control their own hair. You know, like you.
Why is it? Why am I not allowed to mock you for things that you can't control, which you claim is your hair? But it's all right for you to mock the rest of the world and bully the rest of the world for things that they can't control, which is the way that they're brought up and influences that perhaps you don't see.
Miss Badger, because where do I even begin with that? There's so much to unpack there.
I'll tell you where I'd begin. I'll tell you where I'd begin. I'd begin by getting laid, you fucking virgin.
I've shared many a sexual experience with people of all colours.
Your dad
creeds.
doesn't count.
Actually, no, I'd never go there with no, absolutely not, Mr. Badger. He for one thing, my father, never mind, you know, the laws against it. You know, it is actually against the law to engage in sexual relations with a family member, but you know, my father just does not see the world in the correct way. So that's the rule that one should always have. Don't look at their gender. Don't look at how they identify. Look at their Twitter feed. See if they've ever written something offensive. See, did they publicly apologize for it? If they did, okay, jump into bed with them. Yeah.
And so, what we've just gathered from that is you've got quite a few daddy issues, and that's probably why you've turned into a bit of a nonce.
Well,
I'd like to thank you for coming on today, Quimble, or whatever your fucking name was. But
my name is Quinton. Okay?
Nobody
my name
cares.
Is Quinton Righteousness. I am the son of Augustus Righteousness, and I love my father very much. Although my trust fund was not what he promised. And yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe you have tapped into something that I need to address. Which is the issues that I have with the neglect I faced from my father.
And what was that neglect? Just the fact that he didn't give you a big enough trust fund?
Well, that's where it started, Mr. Badger. I right now can only afford a studio apartment in Hammersmith, rather than the penthouse that that my friends from boarding school have.
Well, I'd like to continue on this chat another time, if I was a liar, but I'm not. So I'd like to end this interview by calling you a cunt again. Thank you for coming on.
No, Mr. Badger, no, that's it. I'm actually done here. No, I can't do this anymore. Like, this is just so unnecessary.
Okay, so what we learned today, ladies and gentlemen, is don't be a fanny. Bye-bye.
You're pissed, Dave.
No, I'm a John. What's wrong with John?